What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. This is our third episode, and today we're going to be talking about the UFC 265 pay per view going down Saturday night from Houston, Texas, in the big UFC cage in front of a full fan audience. That's going to be a really fun card, especially with Derek Lewis, the Houston Zone, in the main event. And Ozzy, how you doing today, man?
I'm pretty good. Looking forward to a pay-per-view card again here. I think, fight card that's super well matched. I think we have like 5 or 6 fights that are pick 'em, really, really close. And that's why we come to the UFC events because they have competitive matchups. You see some other promotions, they put together a lot of mismatches. But, I live for, I'll tell you right now, some people love cashing a plus 200 dog. What I love more than anything else is cashing on a minus 110 where there's so many people on the other side and they're so confident. And then they just get their hearts ripped out when they lay minus 110 and, they have nothing to show for it. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, good point. I didn't really fully understand that how many close pick'em matchups there were. Basically, 5 fights right now that are sitting at almost a dead even pick'em. And before we get into this card, just a quick recap of the last event. If you listen to last week's podcast, it was a pretty accurate podcast. Not as good as our first week, but we still gave out a ton of winning bets. Both of us had profitable events and track results. I profited 3.09 units in track bets. It should have been a little bit more. Instead, Kai Kamaka decided to make some bad in-fight decisions. So luckily we didn't lose that bet, but could have been a little bit better if Kamaka closed that out for us. But what do you think of the card last week? It wasn't too good on paper, but I thought it actually delivered pretty well.
Yeah, so I think the worst part about it is just it was short. We had a bunch of fights fall through, including my precious Ronnie Yahya. Shame that that COVID is wreaking its head on our Brazilian mates out there. So hopefully they get that taken care of. I think there's 1 or 2 things, maybe one thing, John, that maybe they can do to avoid all the cancellations. But I'll leave that up to them. Um, overall, in terms of the card, though, it was great. Phil Rose started off really great. Like you said, Kamaka shit the bed, not fighting too smart. But overall, I think, I told you that Gritzmacher Garcia fight, the over was a play. Gritzmacher decision plus 500. A bunch of these guys are, they just lost so much money, betting Rafa Garcia and him, inside the distance, under, just terrible bets, to be honest with you, not to sugarcoat. That Witt fight, you go back, listen to that. I told you exactly how that fight was going to play out. Witt, I don't know how he took those shots, but he did. Melsick, that guy is, I'm not going to say a contender, but looked good. And, and then you had Jared Good and, Daniel Levy's boys show up. So good event overall. I wish I wasn't on the under. That was really, really square in the main event. But profitable, I think just under 3 units officially tracked, and we're choo choo mother effers, like Gooden says, and we're on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, the whole card really didn't have like a single bad fight on it, honestly.
Oop,
Rowe had a good comeback. Benoit Adeshev, probably the least exciting
yeah.
fight. Frey and Yoder actually kind of went to war. That was fun.
No, it just doesn't make any sense, man. Like, if you can fight from both the orthodox and the southpaw stance, you're getting calf kicked. Why go to the southpaw stance after your leg is literally broken? He posted that he said he suffered a fracture in his fibula. Why go to your southpaw stance after your leg is already destroyed? This doesn't make any sense. So I mean, we can't do anything about that. I thought seeing that he could fight from both stands. I mean, I didn't think Adeshev was going to kick his leg off, but you know what I mean? Like, if a guy's kicking you in the leg and you could take it away, why, but let me not get into that. It's a new week. He's probably going to get cut, so he's got bigger things to worry about.
Yep, I lost on Benoit there. I'm only losing track bet of the card, but
Same.
that's about enough for this card. We got 13 matchups we're going to get into here, and we're going to start things off in the bantamweight division, and we got Johnny
Odds.
Munoz. Johnny Munoz has oh shit, I gotta get this best fight odds page up. I think he's minus 260 coming back with uh Jamie Simmons as the plus 210
Plus.
underdog. You can start this one off, Ozzy. I'm gonna go close my window in the meantime.
Nice. Yeah, so this is a fight here. Munoz, I've known this guy for a long time. I knew like he's purple belt, blue belt and purple belt in the gi and no gi in the jiu-jitsu scene, an absolute stud. He gave up doing jiu-jitsu, I think, after like brown belt, more or less, like when he got his black belt, because he was just tired of these like meow guys. I don't know if some of you guys know jiu-jitsu, but just guys just spinning around, pulling guards, like being octopuses, just butt scooting towards them. And Johnny Munoz, he was like, I'm not about this. I'm about punching people in the face. So he transitioned over to MMA, and he's done really well so far. This guy's been training his whole life. When I say legit black belt, like he's as legit of a black belt as they come. Training with some amazing guys, and Jamie Simmons. I don't like. He doesn't. He. This is a fight where Munoz is more than deserved of -250. He came in on short notice against Nate Maness in a fight where I thought was a fight where he was really short notice, so they fought at 145. It was like very close. So it's like a pick 'em price. I think I had like 4 units on Munoz, and I thought he should have won that fight. I thought he looked really, really good. I don't even regret that bet all that much. He ended up losing, maybe tired out a little bit, and
Got a point deducted.
got a point deducted, but this is 1 year later. He's been training like a madman. I know that for a fact. He's been training down. He's been going down to Mexico. He's been in Las Vegas. He's been at his gym in California. This guy's just a stud. He's amazing on top. Has pretty solid takedowns for a jiu-jitsu guy, and his striking. He throws a lot of kicks out there. It's still developing, but I think it's more than enough to take out Jamie Simmons. Not to get to Jamie Simmons, he was a short notice replacement against Giga, and he just doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. Like, if you watch any tape on this guy's just pretty low level. He just slams guys around. Some people don't know this, wouldn't know this, but Jamie Simmons' God-given name, or excuse me, mom-given name, because I'm agnostic, is James Krause Simmons. So I think I think the reason that James Krause's nickname is the James Krause is so he can distance himself from Jamie Simmons. All right. So he could be like, hey, look, that's James Krause Simmons. I am the James Krause, which is really interesting. They should probably, work together. I'm not a big proponent of arranged marriages, but maybe he should leave Wisconsin, work with the James Krause, and maybe he could level up. But in this fight, I think Munoz eventually takes Simmons to the ground. You got to see some of these fights that Simmons has had. Like, there was one fight against this guy named Morgan, who I think is probably his best win. They fought in a freaking elevator shaft. Like, that cage was, 5 feet by 5 feet, tops. And he was able to get the knockout. But this guy, he just powers out of everything. He gets taken down. He gets into scrambles. He gets put into submissions. It's just, if Munoz loses to this guy, it's really embarrassing. I'm telling you, it's like really embarrassing. So he should take care of him. Probably inside the distance, get him down. Submit him. Munoz is pretty strong, but I'd be really surprised if he lost this fight. But what do you think? How do you feel?
So you told me about this fight early in the week and told me to look at Munoz, and I do agree with all that. I think he should justify his price tag here. Um, I'm gonna fix the echo real quick, Ozzy. And going to one point that you didn't mention about Simmons is that two big problems with him here is one, he's coming off a rib injury. This fight was canceled a few months back because Simmons got injured, and then Simmons is also dropping down to 135 for the first time in a while. So he's going to be cutting more weight. He's coming off of an injury. He's definitely not at a grappling advantage here. I think it's pretty much like black belt versus blue belt here on the mat. Simmons is. If you watch his fights against Allman too, just
Oh, you saw that one?
yeah, just
Oh,
back and forth, sloppy grappling. I mean, he loses position embarrassingly a few times. I mean, it's just an extremely low level grappling fight, and then you got a legit black belt like Ozzy said in Munoz. So the grappling should be heavily in favor of Munoz. But even when the fight stays standing, I don't even give Simmons an advantage there. I mean, he's a sloppy, low level striker, wins over low level competition. A lot of quick knockouts over just bad fighters, to be honest. So I think Munoz is gonna have the striking advantage too. Honestly, I thought I think he's a pretty decent striker. He doesn't try to do too much on the feet. He really knows his limits. He kind of reminds me of Joe Selecki in a way. So I think Munoz would smash here. I laid the chalk on him. Minus 230. He was on FanDuel up until about 24 hours ago. That was great value. But anything under minus 300, I think, is value. And I concur with Ozzy here. Munoz should get the submission victory.
And just to add, I think this is Simmons' second time down at 135. They've got this big cage here, which Munoz is going to be able to keep his range, throw kicks, and stay away from him. And it's just a strain. Like Simmons is cannon fodder, man. He's just cannon fodder for sure.
And also, I forgot the Menes fight. You said it was short notice, but that was like 24 hours short notice.
Yeah,
I honestly
yeah.
think that like they had like two fighters. Menes was supposed to fight, the one couldn't make weight, so they put Munoz in, and Munoz shot takedowns like that entire fight. Like he was persisting with takedown attempts nonstop for the full 15 minutes on short notice. So even if the striking isn't going his way here, which is the only way this fight could be close, he's going to shoot nonstop takedowns and he should get Simmons down. So we're both
Munoz, legit prospect. I will say, reminds me a little bit of maybe, now that we have so much data on these guys, you can try and give like career comparisons and maybe like a high end what a guy could work out to. And Munoz, I think maybe could end up like a little bit like Beneil Dariush on the high end. On the high end of his projection, a similar background where cut short the jiu-jitsu career, went into MMA, took their time, and then you see what Beneil's been able to do. So I think potentially similar career could happen for Johnny, but obviously that's top end.
down the road. Yep.
Top end.
Next fight is in the women's flyweight division. We probably won't spend as much time analyzing this one. We got near Pick'em, Leonardo minus 111, Gatto minus 109. Leonardo was the underdog just a few days ago, but people are betting her, and rightfully so. I'll start this one off. I mean, Melissa Gatto has some of the worst regional tape I've ever seen of a UFC fighter coming into the UFC. I mean, just getting easily taken down, stuck on her back for long periods of time. The only way she wins fights is with guard submissions, and don't let that win over Carol Rosa fool you either, because all the things I just described were in that fight. She got taken down easily, laid on her back for long periods of time, just got some miracle submission. And that's probably her only way here to win the fight. I mean, unless Gatto has randomly improved in the past 3 years with zero fights, I just don't see any way how she could be the favorite or even close to a pick 'em here, because Leonardo, we've actually seen like cover her price tag, win fights against Invicta level competition and on the Contender Series. She's got that UFC debut under her belt. So I think Leonardo should be the better fighter everywhere here. And the only way I see Leonardo losing is getting guard sub. But even that I think is low possibility. Um, Leonardo is a decent grappler of her own, and best case scenario for Leonardo, this turns out like the Contender Series, where she just gets into the clinch, gets those takedowns, and lands good ground and pound from top. So I think Leonardo should be a pretty decent favorite here, honestly. I mean, it's hard to go confident on her because it is still low level MMA. Gatto could make some random improvement over this long layoff, but from the tape we've seen, Leonardo deserves to be a decent favorite here. So, did you tape this one at all, Ozzy? I know it's low level, but
Yeah, I looked at it a little bit. Leonardo, I think I've watched all her tape and Gatto. She's had so many canceled UFC fights that I probably seen that Cara Rosa fight like 4 times, to
yeah,
be
right.
honest. But I mean, the thing is here, it's so hard to project any like what Gatto's striking is going to look like at all. That it's tough to be confident. I love betting on women's fights. I think that Gatto jiu-jitsu wise is pretty good. Like I know officially she's a purple belt, but Brazilians freaking sandbag, sometimes like they just do. So I think she's probably better than that on the mat, but she has not shown much offensive takedowns. On her Instagram, she's shown, doing a bunch of takedowns and stuff. But Leonardo is a pretty gritty girl for women's MMA. She hits takedowns in like a certain way that I like overall. So it's just a fight that it's tough for me to get involved with. But seeing it bounce back and forth on the pickup makes me feel like I should probably stay away. but I'm kind of tempted to like go in and maybe observe it a little bit more. But it's probably going to be a pass overall. I just feel that Gatto just you can't expect too much. Maybe look to live bet this more. Leonardo, I'm wondering what her game plan will be. Does she come out to strike? Does she get to the clinch and go for takedowns? I think is a fight that probably goes a little bit later. But I'll probably pick Leonardo just because I think she can maybe wear out Gatto as the fight goes on. But definitely not a confident pick, and I would not be surprised if Gatto came out with some improved striking in wrestling.
Sounds good. And we'll leave that one at that and move on to a fight that was supposed to happen about a month ago in the bantamweight division. We got Miles Johnson, the minus 205 favorite, Anderson Dos Santos, plus 175. All the lines I'm quoting are on Bet Online, by the way. And what are you thinking about this one, Ozzy? This fight was supposed to happen a month ago.
Yeah.
Has your thoughts changed at all?
So first time it was scheduled, I think that Johns was maybe a little bit shorter of a favorite, maybe in
Yeah.
the minus 190, minus 180 range, and probably the books took the information and set it a bit higher. I'm looking for any reason at all to fade Miles Johns, just like any at all. I was on him last time against Natividad. I thought that was easy money, very easy spot. But the guy's just he's been kind of like a short favorite a few times. He hasn't really paid off his price all that much, in my opinion. The Natividad fight, he was winning that one easy. But the Batista fight and even the Cole Smith fight, obviously Batista got knocked out. But in the Cole Smith fight, he had a few hairy moments in there as well, if I remember right. I didn't retape that fight, but if I remember right.
Yeah, he lost half
So
the fight.
he lost half the fight. So the thing with me with when you look at Dos Santos though, is that I mean that look is awful of Martin Day coming up from bottom on him and hitting the double leg and throwing him down, even though he got guillotined, right? Even though he got guillotined, it's like, dude, you're getting taken down and put on your back by Martin Day. It's just awful because Martin Day is one of the worst UFC fighters that they've ever had.
But he
Um,
was winning the round comfortably up
yeah,
until that
yeah,
point.
he's got some stinky takedowns. That Nadin Armani fight, he got destroyed. But Nadin Armani's bigger than him, and I think that fight was like super short notice. I think Nadin Armani had like two different opponents before they landed on Anderson Dos Santos. I don't remember how much notice he had, but it wasn't that much. And it was up a weight class. The Andre fight, Ewell, whatever, however the fuck he pronounces his name. I mean, Dos Santos was just like just
The
easy.
zombie.
He is a zombie. Like, it was so easy for Andre to land every punch that he threw. And it looked like Dos Santos was like, I mean, the thing is, when you're striking and you throw a strike, right? If you're throwing a right hand, let's say, right? Picture this in your head. You come out of your stance a little bit, right? You come forward a bit because you need to throw the strike. But what real fighters do is they bring it back and they get into their defensive posture, whether that be with them rolling, whether that be with them just bringing their hand back, a bunch of different ways you could do it. Dos Santos is just getting hit, right? Like, he'll throw a punch and it look like he'll pause. It's like when Joe Rogan's like, oh, he was staring at his work or whatever it is, and he just get hit every time. So Johns, I'll give him credit. He bites the mouthpiece sometimes and just throws counter punches. He's got some power. He's 9 years younger, so the stat guys will love that. The analytics guys will be all over that. But I think this dude is not like I thought when he beat Richie Santiago. I thought, hey man, this guy might be okay and like a decent prospect, given that he had that win over Yanez. But I have not been impressed. So I am definitely not laying minus 220 or whatever it is at now. I'd be interested maybe in Dos Santos if the price climbed a little bit more, because I think he could potentially take Johns down. Johns is kind of like a small guy, and he's ripped, but he's kind of a small guy from 135. And I think Dos Santos, if you look at his some of his fights, in that fight against Andre, and even that fight against Day, like we said, he hits some not creative takedowns, but takedowns that are good, that you see that he has some talent. And in that Andre fight, you see that when he's on top, he's going for good positions. He's trying to get to mount. He's a finisher. But I mean, I'm struggling with wanting to back him significantly at this, even at this price, at this plus price. But there is no way zero chance that I would bet Miles Johns here because Miles Johns, he just does not have good control. He gives up positions. He's not that active. He's got some power, sure, and maybe he's got good cardio, like he'll pace himself. But I just don't believe in him. Like I'm done with that guy. I threw him out a long time ago. He's not a real prospect to me. So I might get involved in this fight because Anderson is so underrated here, but it's gonna be tough for me to get to the window. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I actually like Dos Santos here. I have a little more confidence in him. I mean, I think I was planning on betting him at like plus 160 the last time the fight was booked, so I'll take plus 180. Um, just like a half unit, 1 unit max, nothing crazy
Yeah,
because
for sure.
uh, I agree with almost everything you said about John's there. Um, So the one thing that I'll say is the Cole Smith fight is really the one to look at for this one, um, because Cole Smith took his back 2 times in that fight and was able to control him for like 6 or 7 minutes in the first 2 rounds. And I just think Miles Johns just isn't that great of a grappler. Like he can wrestle a little bit, but like when it gets into the jujitsu scrambles, those prolonged grappling exchanges, I think there's a good chance that Dos Santos is the one who actually wins those and gets some control time. And the only way I see John's justifying minus 200 is if he like keeps the fight standing the entire time and just jabs Dos Santos to death. I mean, I will say that John's boxing and his jab did look improved in his past few fights, but I'm not quite willing to think that he's going to justify minus 200 off of like one Kevin Natividad performance. So I think Dos Santos can kind of make it gritty in the pocket. He can string together some combinations and make the striking close. And then if it gets into the grappling, I think I honestly favor Dos Santos to win the exchanges as they go on. So I like Dos Santos here. I think a back take could win him the round. I think this fight is likely going to hit the scorecards. And I just think Johns is getting overrated coming off that Natividad win. Obviously, had that cool knockout at the end, but Natividad is not a UFC level opponent. He got destroyed by Batgirl in his fight right after that. So I don't think that win means too much. I think the market is kind of overrating Johns coming off that win. So I'm down to take a small bet on Dos Santos here. And I think he could pull this off by decision submission. So maybe look out for those props too. Um, Unless you got anything else to add, Ozzy, we'll move on to the next
No,
one.
not really. I mean, I think the main thing is that Dos Santos just does not go away. He's super tough. Like he'll invite you to throw punches and stuff. So that's both like I'm concerned about that because Johns does have some power, but I also like that because Johns looked to me to slow down in that Cole Smith fight and none of I don't think that his cardio, his output is definitely not the best. So, if Dos Santos could, put together a good first round, I think he's super live.
Oh, and we're going up or down to the flyweight division next. We got Manel Kape trying to get his first UFC win, minus 200, taking on Osbourne, plus 170. Um, I'll start this one off, I guess. So Cop had some bad luck in his first 2 fights. I thought he performed pretty well in both of them, but just didn't have the initiative, the aggression, the output in either one to really seal the deal. You really got to feel for him in that most recent one against Nicolau. Those 2 big knees in the last minute of round 3 probably should have swayed him that round, but the judges gave it to Nicolau. I was cool with it at the time because I bet Nicolau there, but rewatching it, it did seem like Cape deserved rounds 2 and round 3. Cape looked really sharp in round 2. Like he was steadily pressuring Nicolau and like actually throwing a lot of punches. He actually looked like really good there. And if that Cape comes out here versus Osborne, who is actually like pressuring and putting up consistent volume, he should win really easily because Osborne is kind of just like an early finisher. I don't think the guy is really good anywhere. He's pretty wild and untechnical in all aspects. And good for him is he's not facing a grappler this time because the guy has really bad takedown defense. Cape can wrestle a bit, but I definitely don't think it's going to be his game plan. So I think Cape has a good chance at outboxing him. The only way I see Osborne winning the fight is either chinning Cape in the round 1 by some crazy knockout, or maybe Cape just has that same issue where he's just low volume, and maybe Osborne can win a split decision type of fight here. But I don't see it. I think if you look at the guys Cape lost to, by the way, last thing I'll say is like they're all pretty good fighters. Like Osborne would be the worst fighter he's lost to by a wide margin. So I agree with where the price is at. Cape minus 200, pretty accurate. and I'm picking him to win here. What about you, Ozzy?
So Cape is an extremely seasoned, just overall, in all aspects. He did me dirty both times, man. I was bad. I was a full on cop, and I'm gonna go cop instead of Cape. Cop believer. That first fight against Pantoja, I'm like, man, he's going to destroy Pantoja. This is not gonna be like he's just better than him everywhere. And he's gonna win. And I mean, that fight is just did not make any sense. Like, Pantoja literally won with body kicks, and Cop, he ends up going for a takedown, if I remember right, in the end of round 2, more or less. Gets him down easy, takes him down in the third round easy. It's like, you look at it, you're like, holy shit, if this guy just wrestled Pantoja from the beginning, this would have been easy. Like, you didn't even think that was his path to victory, and he would have clearly got that done. And in the Nicolau fight, I also backed him because I'm like, hey, I'm not getting off the train. And I mean, really close fight. Like, I can't really say one way or another. I thought, it comes down to that third round, and it's like, difference of marginally in strikes. But O'Day, I mean, he's a clown, dude. Like, he fought, he went into that fight against Brian Kelleher, right? And I think they were the opening fight on the main card, and I remember this vividly because I think that Kelleher is
McGregor
like
card,
plus
maybe.
110. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get to that. He was like plus 110, plus 115. And I'm already on Kelleher, and I hear these promos, and I hear O'Day say, I'm fighting on the Conor McGregor card, but one day people are gonna remember that Conor McGregor fought on the Ozzy-Osbourne card, and I was like, holy shit, this guy is insane. Double down on Kelleher, and he got up to like plus 140, and it was the easy one of the easiest few $1,000s I've ever made in my life. But I mean, he comes back on that Jerome Rivera fight. Jerome Rivera is a 125er, and he was basically forced to take this fight against O'Day at 145, and O'Day killed him. But I mean,
Poor Rivera.
Rivera literally has. There's not one guy who's lost more UFC fights in a 12-month span. I think he holds the record.
He's not
You'll have
that
to
bad too. He just like has
listen. No, whoa, relax,
no physical attributes.
relax. Okay, leave that alone. Okay. But I mean, the guy shouldn't even be in the UFC. If you have time, watch this Contender Series fight. I will go to my dying grave unless I meet Laura Sanko, and I am convinced that she read those scorecards wrong. I am like, you cannot convince me otherwise. That was the most insane scorecards I've ever heard in my life.
He won by armbar, it says.
You talk not his Contender Series fight.
Yeah, he
No,
did.
he didn't.
Yeah, it did. Look at the record right now. I'm looking at it right now. Armando Villarreal. Armbar round 1.
I'm talking about Jerome Rivera.
Oh, yes, obviously.
I'm talking about Jerome Rivera. I'm talking about Jerome Rivera.
Yeah, he's done. He's out of the UFC. He's off.
But all I'm saying is, like, he's lost so many fights. Like, I mean, like, he didn't even win that fight. So anyway, back to O'Day though. So O'Day, I mean, I think he's got some skills. Like in that fight against Villarreal, like you said, he threw up that armbar, caught that. He's got some power, but he's going down to 125, dude. And I mean, I don't know how he's gonna make it. I'm unconvinced that he's gonna make it. And if I was betting, like if I liked O'Day, I'd have to wait until the weigh-ins. You just have to, because him going down to 125, like he was weak. Did you see how easily Brian Kelleher picked that dude up and put him down? He was just incredibly weak at 135. And Cop is a truck at 125. He's fought so much, such great competition. He was getting taken down by Nicolau in this first round. But O'Day doesn't really have the wrestling, I think, to bother Cape.
No,
but
certainly not.
But there's no way I'm laying minus 200 on Cape. I'm just not doing it because O'Day has that range. He's in that southpaw stance. So and both of Cop's fights, if I'm correct, have been in the apex. Now he is going to be in the big cage. So he didn't do shit in the apex, in that small cage. Now he's got way more room to dance around. So maybe, it becomes a fight where they're just staring at each other in that open stance. I think O'Day was probably going to come, going to try and, come for war. But, it could devolve to a very low volume fight. And I just can't be holding a cop ticket at -200, given that. But I feel Cop's much more talented, much more skilled, and equally as physically talented. Even though Ode has maybe some, he's longer and whatever. But I just don't trust these guys going down to 125, man. Like I feel Cop KOing him is live because that chin is just going to be a little bit soft. So I'll side with Cape. I'm not really interested in betting this fight at all, though. I see the overs -140.
Yeah, some props I'll mention real quick. I
Yeah.
see Cape sub 14-1. That's pretty good. Club sub possible. Also, just fight not starting round two. I think there's a good chance that either guy could just swing to the death in round one. That's plus 280 for the fight not starting round two. I
Yeah,
wonder what about what fight ends by knockout flat out is. Let me see if I can get that up on FanDuel.
mean, I'd be surprised if Cop would have to be just a huge idiot to get hit with a bomb by Ode. Like
Yeah,
Ode, I don't really like at 125. You just have to look at Ode's last many fights. Last
yeah,
I mean he's been out of the third. Look, his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights have all ended in the first round, one way or
the
another.
first 3 minutes. Yeah,
He's lost to. So I mean, if you're a cop, you got to be like, man, let's. All of Ode's wins are in the first round, except for his debut. So if you're a cop, you're
just
like,
take
hey
him
man,
down.
let's
Take
throw
him
a
down
few
round one.
a few leg kicks here. Let's work maybe for a blast double leg because Cop has some underrated takedowns, and I think he could get this done. But I just can't back him again at -200.
Yep, we're on the same page there. We're gonna move on to the next fight, which takes place in the women's strawweight division. We got the return of Karolina Kowalkiewicz taking on Jessica Penne. Pretty much. Oh, let's see. Actually, it looks like some.
I'll go on this one first.
Let me just read the odds real quick. Carolina
Yeah.
-124, Penne +104. I think some action just came in on Carolina in the past hour or so. What are your thoughts on this one, Carolina as a slight favorite?
So a fight between two girls, vets in the women's division, older chicks. I don't know how old Carolina is, but she can't be under 30. Um, and she's been out for quite a long time. So, I mean, there's no way I could trust Carolina. I'll just tell you this right off the bat. She's definitely fought some high level competition. She's lost to some really good girls, right? She lost to Andrade, Waterson, Alexa, Grasso, and then Jan. Hasn't fought, I guess, in a year. It almost feels like a year and a half.
Feels
It feels
longer.
like more. Yeah, it feels like longer. But she was got destroyed in that Jan fight. I see that Carolina's training now, I guess, in Poland with Joanna, and doing all that jazz. But to be honest with you, I kind of like Jessica Penne in this fight, and I see that fight against Godinez, and people, they shit all over that fight. But look, Penne was literally out 4 years. Martian, did you graduate in 4 years? Did you graduate college in 4 years? Did
I
it take
did.
you
I
that?
did.
You did. Imagine, dude. She was out as long as you were in college, dude. That's a long motherfucking time. And she
These
was out.
these women layoffs don't apply to them. Misha Tate looked like
That's
she
what I'm
got better.
saying, dude. And you look at Jessica Pitt, and it was an unwarranted, in my opinion, layoff because you look at Jessica Pitt. I mean, one look at Jessica Pitt moving and doing shit. She's not on roids. What roids is she taking? All right. If she's taking any roids, she should get a fucking refund. Okay. No offense, Jessica. But anyway, Godinez though, I heart Godinez. Like I think I'm a simp. That's low key. I'm a simp for Godinez. That girl. Do you see how she was moving in that fight? She was just so quick. Like I think she was like kind of like overwhelming. The speed that she had was kind of overwhelming.
Just
For
dragged on Penny around.
yeah, she had a lot of pop to her. Let's just put it like that. She was pushing her around. She was moving around her strikes really well. She was able to stand even like when Penne has got that body triangle and she has it back. Like that's very physically taxing. To just be standing with someone on you like that for multiple minutes of a UFC fight. Um, So really impressive by her, and I think Penne though, she knows how to fight to her strengths. She'll go for those like little overhook Uchimata. She'll go try to get to the clinch. She'll try to get the back. She'll try to get to some takedowns. And then when she does throw punches, they don't really have that much zip on them, but they're thrown pretty well. And I just think here, if she takes Carolina down, like when have you seen Carolina grapple? That much with like a grappler that's very good. I just don't think that Carolina has power to keep Jessica Penne off of her. And if they start grappling, I just trust Jessica Penne a lot more. And I know this is women's MMA and this is Jessica Penne, right? They're gonna fucking grapple. It's gonna happen. So, I kind of like Jessica Penne here as a small dog. I think people are kind of like, shitting on her. Like, look at her losses. She lost to Danielle Taylor. She got TKO'd by Jessica Andrade and Joanna. And, now she's plus 105 against a girl who has been out for a year and a half. I think the game is kind of passed Carolina by, sad to say. But, I don't really think she's at, like, look at her win. She beat Elise Herring by split, Jody Escabel, and she kneed the crap out of Rose Namajunas in the clinch and stuff and won a split decision. I think Jessica Penne is going to be able to at some point get to a dominant grappling position and potentially, and then start scoring offense. She's been working with her judo coach, for a while, and I think she's got some skills, man. So I like Penne here. I haven't pulled the trigger, and we'll see where it goes though.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much all of that. Carolina, she did look really bad against Jan. I think that did have a lot to do with her eye getting like blown up in the first minute of that fight. But if you watch the way that Jan took her down, want to fix the echo real quick, Ozzy. Jan was able to take her down with judo throws. She was able to slam her down. She tripped her with like a body lock trip. Like Jan looked like a glorified wrestler against Kowalkiewicz, and we know that Jan is like a terrible grappler too. So that was really surprising. And same thing with
Good
Michelle
point.
Waterson. Michelle Waterson was able to head and arm throw her. She was able to take her down. I mean, Michelle Waterson 30-27 Carolina not that long ago. And she doesn't do that to many people at all. Um, so I do agree that the grappling favors Penne. I just see the fight being sloppy, and when the fight is going to be sloppy, it favors Penne. She's going to be able to get those back takes. I mean, that was actually really cool the way that Penne was just like losing the clinch, getting ragdolled around, but she just like slipped out the back and would just take the back of
Oh,
Godinez there.
she was like freaking Nightcrawler, dude.
Yeah, I mean, why isn't that going to work here? I think the same exact strategy is going to work. Carolina likes to clinch. She has some decent knees and elbows. That's really like her best performance. The win over Rose came all because of her clinch. And I think that game has kind of like largely been abandoned by her from the past few years. And Penne didn't even look that bad at range versus Godinez. She was pumping out straight punches, some front kicks, knees up the middle, nothing too crazy, but it was all crisp. It was all effective. I mean, if this stays at distance, I think it's going to be even competitive exchanges. And I think the grappling heavily favors Penne here. So I'm siding with Penne as well. I would cap her as a slight favorite, but I would just wait to bet. People are probably going to come in on Carolina. I did just mention the line moved on Bet Online from -120 to -124. So I'd say probably wait towards fight day to get Penne here as a dog.
Godinez would murder Carolina.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't have much faith in Penne coming in there plus 250 as a dog, but she had a pretty gritty performance there, and props to her for pulling off that upset victory. And we're going to move on to the next fight, which takes place in the light heavyweight division. One of Ozzy's favorite fighters, Alonzo-Menifield, as the minus
Yeah.
235 favorite, taking on Ed Herman as the plus 200 underdog. I'll let you start this one off. Oh wait, no, you started the last one. I guess I'll do this one. But man, I'm not even ready to talk about Alonzo-Menifield.
I got you.
You
I
got
got you, bro.
you take
I
this.
got you. I got
Yeah.
you, bro. Alonzo-Menifield, bro. Alonzo-Menifield, is he minus 200 against everybody? Like, I don't understand. He's minus 200 literally every goddamn time this guy fights, okay? I'll tell you tens of thousands of dollars going against Alonzo Menifield. Let me tell you a little
All that
story.
on OSP too. How much?
Let me tell
Probably
you a
half that on
story.
OSP.
No, 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 not even all on OSP. That's where you're wrong. Let me tell you a story, okay? So, Alonzo Menifield is scheduled to fight Devin Clark. Devin Clark opens plus like 235 or something. So I'm talking to a few of these guys. So I'm like, man, this is an insane price. Like, this is just crazy. Like, this is like a max bet. And some of the guys are like, nah, no way, dude. What are you talking about? This Menifield dude's gonna murder Devin Clark. I was like, no, 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 dude. Like, there's no way. So I bet there was this guy. I told him, and this is right after I told this guy that Tyron Woodley is a bum and Gilbert Burns is gonna take his head off. So he's like, man, like you're right often, but you just say some crazy stuff sometimes. I was like, dude, I will bet if Evan Clark loses to Alonzo Menifield, I will eat a roll of toilet paper because I was telling this guy that just Alonzo Menifield's poop. So I was like, it just came to my head. I'm like, I will eat a roll of toilet paper on camera. I didn't even ask the guy to do anything else. I will fact check this for you if anybody's curious. Okay, I guarantee this happened. Okay, now the guy was like, "Hey man, like you're not eating Charmin though, like that. You can't digest that." So I was like, "All right, what do the liberals wipe their asses with nowadays? They do that eco-friendly hemp, whatever. Whatever. What do liberals wipe their ass with, John? What do you wipe your ass with?"
Usually conservative tears for the most
Okay,
part. Yeah, it's like a
see, so
bidet. It's like a
so
bidet
the,
of conservative tears.
So the next level is getting that hemp, that eco-friendly, that biodegradable kind of toilet paper. So he's like, hey, you know what? I'll get you that kind of toilet paper. You eat it if Benefield wins. I was like, deal, dude. I'm gonna make like 10 grand and a free toilet paper and not have to eat it. So we all know how that went. Benefield, this guy is low fight IQ, man. He hurts Devin Clark. He hurts guys that he fights, and then he goes straight into the clinch. He's got no gas. He just chases guys around the ring or around the cage. You saw against that OSP, against OSP. OSP was like, this is like one of the first times you heard someone say like, "What? Like these odds are crazy." OSP was like, "How am I the underdog to Alonzo Menifield?" You could check his Twitter. He was like, this was insane." OSP knockout was like plus 800. It was insane, dude. Like we should run that back like 10,000 times. Okay. But let's get to this fight against Ed Herman. He's coming in. Ed Herman ate those body shots against Mike Rodriguez. Cheated the system. Although he came out, if
No,
you
he didn't
watch,
cheat. He didn't cheat
hey,
at all.
hey, 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 hey! I'm just talking. Listen, I know some people real upset about that because I was on Ed.
I love Joe Lozon. So what?
I
It doesn't matter. People
I
can
don't
be
even think
upset.
I don't
Ed
even
Herman
think
did nothing
Lozon
wrong.
was in the corner there. Does he
He
even
was.
corner
He
him? He
was.
was okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I watched it today.
So Lozon's my boy. I don't know if I told you this, but people in my MMA gym, they told me that the person I reminded them the most fighting wise is Joe Lozon. So always gonna be
Good
big
comparison.
simp for Joe Lozon. But he comes out after he takes that knee that he says was a low blow, and he eats a flush body kick from Rodriguez. So people overall, I think, are saying like, yo, Ed Herman's just fragile. He's just not going to be able to take any punches. Ed Herman's an OG. Okay, he was fighting when I was watching MMA back on Tough 3. For you newcomers, go watch that Kendall Grove versus Ed Herman fight. Great fight. Great season of Tough. And Ed Herman, I just think here in this fight, if he can survive, like guys, if you guys have like a little clicker where you can like count, and it keeps track for you, because some people can't keep numbers in their head. Just count to 30. If Menifield throws 30 punches or kicks and has not knocked out Ed Herman, then this fight is probably like even, more or less. So I like Ed Herman here. I think Ed Herman is a little tricky in the clinch. I think if Menifield's going in there, flurrying in, and getting his hands on him, I think Ed Herman could get crafty in there. He's a former Team Quest guy for you OGs. So he's got some skills in the clinch, short uppercuts, working in there. And then if he can, tire Menifield out and potentially get this to the ground in some way, shape, or form, he's got some semblance of a grappling game. But just, I mean, the point here is I can't always give you a plus 200 winner, but I could keep you off of minus 250 though. Okay, so putting this guy in parlays, Alonso-Menifield, like he hit a freaking Von Flu choke on Fabio Charant. Like, who is that? Fabio Charant. All right, I know it's French season, but it ain't that kind of French season. All right,
Yeah,
so
save that for a game.
save that shit for later, maybe. Okay, save that shit for later, maybe. Okay. And I'm not talking about the French Olympic basketball team because Luca's winning the gold medal. But I mean, here, Ed Herman, I think he's able to stay away from that right hand of Menifield. He's a smart guy. He's a grizzled vet, like as grizzled as you can get. He's got a good team behind him. I think they'll game plan good for Alonso-Menifield. I think he's a live dog here. And I'm probably gonna play him, but look, I'm hoping you guys keep pumping this up. I'm not saying you guys, don't take it personal, but I'm hoping, people keep pumping this up and we could get Ed Herman maybe plus 230.
Yeah, I agree with what a lot was said there, except for that abomination that you said Herman cheated. I'm a firm believer that Ed Herman did nothing wrong against Rodriguez. Ozzy told his little story about eating toilet paper, that fantasy of his. I'll tell you a little story about Ed Herman. In that fight against Rodriguez, he got rocked with a punch in round one, right? He got hurt with a knee to the body, and he went down. He didn't fake a nut shot. He didn't say, "Oh, it's my nuts." Chris Tognoni, the referee, who is really one of the worst referees in MMA, he calls time. He says it's a nut shot. So if you're Ed Herman right now, you're gonna say, "Oh, it was actually a body shot." You can take it as a loss. You can take half my pay. I'll just take the loss.
Fuck
No, he's
that.
he's gonna keep fighting. Obviously, he did nothing wrong, so he kept fighting. Round two gets dropped again with the body shot. Uh, got a brief takedown in round three, gets reversed, starts eating ground and pound. He's almost finished. The referee is so close to stopping the fight, and he still pulls off that Kimura sweep and taps him out. I mean, that was incredible. I mean, a lot of the credit for that comeback goes out the window because the referee made the mistake, but Herman was on his way to losing like 30-25, and he still won that fight. Um, Incredible comeback. One of the best moments of all last year. I remember that fight happened on my birthday. It was like I just remember jumping for joy when that happened. Um, he was plus 1,300 in the live lines there too before pulling off that upset. So now that I've got that off my chest, this matchup, the Ozzy said 30 strikes for Menifield. That was a great point. I think it's 4 minutes. It's like if you look at this guy's UFC career, has he had any success? Has he won 10 seconds of a fight in the UFC past 4 minutes? No, he is not. He's knocked out Moreira and Craig in round one, choked out Sharon in a minute, but Dev Clark, he was completely gassed out 4 minutes in. Even before round one ended, he was already gassed out, losing that fight. And OSP schooled him the entire 9 minutes of that fight. So Menifield has had no success whatsoever past the 4 minute mark. And I mean, I don't like to shit on the coaches too much, but like I just don't like Safe Saeed. I don't think he's that great of a coach. He has these athletic specimens and just can't seem to really maximize their potential, and that's exactly what Alonso is. So, I mean, my opinion is the same as everybody else's here. Menifield has a window early on, round one. He might knock Herman out. Herman does look pretty old and slow in the striking, but I mean, Benefield is just not good. He has a small window to win by that early knockout, but if it gets into rounds two and three, you got to heavily favor Ed Herman here. So now the only question I have here, I'll pose this one to you, Ozzy, is do you wait to live bet Herman here, or do you take the plus 200 pre-fight? Because you got to think he probably will be possibly a better dog after that first few minutes after that initial storm. So are you? It seemed like you were willing to take that pre-fight bet instead of live betting. Is that true?
I mean, yeah, you just can't trust being able one to get down on, plus money. And then two, it's just like, if you lose, even if you have a unit, half unit, whatever it is, if you lose on a plus 200 dog, I feel like you shouldn't be too upset about it. You know what I mean? So, I think, maybe if you want to size a little bit differently and say, hey, look, I'm going to leave some room to be able to add to Ed Herman if this goes past a round, or if his price is a lot better after a round. I think that's the approach that I try to take if I do think that a guy is potentially going to be a lot better after round one in price wise.
Yeah, I'd say small bet Herman pre-fight and then look to add more in the live lines if all is going well. So pure pick wise, I guess I'll go with Alonzo here, but I'll be cheering for Herman.
I'll take head. I'll take head.
Yeah, betting value all over Herman. We'll move on to the next fight, which I believe is in the featherweight division. No, it's in the bantamweight division. We got Vince Morales taking on Draco Rodriguez, another near pick'em. Rodriguez, the slight -115 favorite here to Morales -105. I'll start this one out by saying Rodriguez isn't really good at any aspect of MMA. I think submissions are his best aspect, but he doesn't really have reliable wrestling. Um, his striking is not that good, kind of predictable, was very predictable with his shots versus Zahabi. That's why he got countered and knocked out with that right hand. And that wasn't really a good sign for his chin either. I think getting knocked out by Alamin Zahabi early on in your career, I think that he could be in for some problems with his chin long term. But Morales has that huge gaping issue of leg kicks. It's his biggest problem. Just gets easily leg kicked. So Rodriguez, if he comes out here and attacks leg kicks, he could have success. He could have a chance to win this fight. But if he doesn't, I have a hard time imagining where he's going to win. Morales isn't a terrible defensive grappler. He should be able to stuff the takedowns of Draco. And in the feed, if it stays there, you got to favor Morales. I think he's the proven better kickboxer. I think he's got some power in his hands. We've seen him drop opponents before. And Vince Morales really hasn't had that bad of a UFC career. Sure, he did lose pretty decisively to Gutierrez, but before that, he had some pretty respectable performances in there, like cleanly beating Zahabi, the guy who just knocked out Draco. So as a slight underdog here, Morales, I do think is the side. I would cap him as like a slight 55% favorite here. Not uber confident because these guys both are kind of on the lower level and inexperienced, but I'm siding with Morales here to outstrike Draco to either a decision or knockout. What about you, Ozzy?
So yeah, here's a fight with two guys with not too much experience. Rodriguez does have, or excuse me, Morales does have like four or five UFC fights overall. And I just think he's had a disappointing UFC career as a whole. I remember watching him in his fight against Polarde. Going into that fight, I thought that he was a solid prospect. That was, I think, when the Contender Series is first sparking up. So you're kind of like excited about like, oh man, like this is like a whole new way for prospects to get into the UFC. We get like some legit tape on them versus like another skill prospect under the UFC lights. And he looked great. I thought in that first round, I think he was tuning Pilarde up, and then he just totally fell apart and got finished in that second round. And then his UFC career has not gone, all that well either. He had a tough debut fight against Song, and he lost the decision there. And I thought, to be honest, he got kind of, I don't know, a little bit hosed in that Benito Lopez fight. I mean, I think Benito
For
Lopez is
sure.
kind of terrible. So it's kind of
For
embarrassing to
sure,
just,
terrible.
just to be in any kind of close fight with him sucks. So. But I don't know what's going on with him, when he's coming back. But potential fade. But anyway, about Vince though. So Vince though, in that Gutierrez fight, I mean, it was pick'em, and I was telling a few guys, I'm like, man, Gutierrez should be a favorite here. Like this dude, this guy's got some skills, and then he chopped his leg off. Like I'm surprised that, I think what's his name, Vince came out of that fight with a broken orbital, and then he broke his and then he tore his Achilles. I don't know when, but I'm surprised he didn't have a broken femur, fibula, something, because he got his leg destroyed by one of the best kickers in the division. And Draco, I just think this guy is not good. I think he's legit. Like, I don't like to fighter bash, say like, oh, you're a fraud, this and that. This guy's just not good overall, just top to bottom. He's got no wins over legit guys. He beat Mana Martinez, who I guess is legit, but I think it was kind of like a fluke submission, if I'm being honest. I think his boxing is probably his best attribute. He's got some submissions, like you mentioned, but this guy he's working his boxing all the time, which is why I think I'm not sure if he's going to take advantage of the leg kick, potential deficiency in Morales' game, just because he is so boxing oriented. If you look at that Zahabi fight, the reason he gets KO'd is because he's like, um, he's very straight up, like his posture is very upright. And then he just gets bombed on, and he just comes in, and I think he's getting ready to throw a punch, and he gets finished. Now he did.
He was feigning the same jab like over and over
Yeah,
and over again.
he's just kind of predictable. He's a little bit slow, in my opinion. He did throw 4 leg kicks in the 3 minutes against what's his name, against Zahabi, but Zahabi does not have power. I'm going to tell you right now because I know people who have sparred with him. He does not have real power.
He
Morales,
knocked Draco stiff.
stiff, dude, stiff. He does not have real power. I'll tell you right. Ask Bill, dude. Ask Bill. He does not have real power. Morales does have some real power, and I think Morales is low key kind of embarrassed in that last fight that he had, and his UFC career as a whole. This guy trains at Syndicate MMA in Vegas, so he knows he's been around high level training for a while. Draco trains in like Omaha or something like that, and the only thing Omaha is Peyton Manning saying that shit over and over again, and Warren Buffett. Like, it's not a mecca of MMA. So I don't know who he's training with. I don't think he's very good at all. I don't think he has that much potential. And I've got some plus money on Vince right now. I think I cap him as a favorite. I just think that his hands are better. He's potentially able to get top position better on Draco, and he has more rounds under his belt. That's a big thing for me. Draco's only been to decision one time in his career. And I just don't think this guy should. This guy is literally bottom of the barrel in terms of the UFC bantamweight division. In my opinion, he might go out there and look really good, show a lot of improvements. But I think Vince Morales has more skills than him, has more experience than him, has a better cardio, and has a chip on his shoulder. Coming into this fight, even though Draco might too, but I just trust Vince more. And I think that he's the favorite here, in my opinion. I just feel he has more ways to win. He should be able to pick at Draco if he's smart, and move around the cage a little bit. And for me, Draco's only fought 3 minutes in the UFC. He's gonna be real excited. It's in Houston, Texas, bright lights, a lot
Yeah.
of people there. He's gonna be excited. So I think the under here might be a good spot, just because I think these guys are gonna go to war. They're gonna bite the mouthpiece. Both of them have something to prove. But I'm gonna side with Vince Morales here. And hopefully he gets it done by knockout.
True, good point about the crowd too. Biggest stage Draco's ever fought in. While
Absolutely.
Morales flew into China and gave Song a pretty tough fight. Fight
Absolutely.
ends by knockout plus 220 here. That's
I
pretty
like that.
intriguing.
I like that.
We're gonna move on and just gotta say before we get into this next fight, this card to the top of the card, just great fight after great fight, great card by the UFC here. Doesn't have like that necessarily stellar main event, but from this fight, Fiziev-Green on, I mean, just incredible fight after incredible fight. So really looking forward to this card Saturday. We're gonna be
Thank
in
you,
the
Uncle Daggett. Thank you, Uncle Dana.
yeah, true. I'll thank the fighters. I'll thank the 26 fighters in the card and before I thank that
And Sean
nonsense.
Shelby.
Um, so what about the fighters? You want to give them a thank to you too, or no? No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's enough.
Yeah, true. Lightweight matchup. We got Rafael Fiziev. He's not Brazilian. Minus 280. Bobby Green plus 220. A little bit of action coming in on Bobby Green these past few days, and I guess I'll start with this one. And I do have a track bet on this fight. Got some Bobby Green here plus 260. I got him. Point 0.7 units, didn't go the full unit, but I just think this line is off. I don't have like extreme confidence in Bobby Green to pull off the victory, but if Green can make it out of round one here, if he can get past Fiziev's best power, I think the fight gets really close in rounds 2 and 3. Bobby Green, kind of an underrated wrestler too. I mean, he's a great defensive grappler, but if he needs to, he can offensive wrestle. I mean, the stats say that too. He's hit takedowns in all 4 of his past 4 fights against pretty decent wrestlers as well, like pretty decent overall fighters. So I think the striking's definitely got to favor Fiziev, the kickboxer, the faster, the more powerful guy. But Bobby Green's a slick striker too. As long as his chin holds up and he absorbs those first few punches from Fiziev, I think he's got a good chance at making the striking close. I'm not going to favor him on the feet, definitely, but he can make it close. And then you got to favor Bobby Green if this fight gets into the clinch, if it gets into the grappling situations. Green might be able to take down Fiziev and get some consistent top game with it. I mean, the best wrestler that Fiziev has fought so far is probably like Mark Diakase. I guess Moicano might be a little bit better, but Moicano didn't have a good game plan in that Fiziev fight. He was staying at distance the entire time with Fiziev. Green's probably not going to do that. He's probably going to make him a little more uncomfortable, try to maximize his chances at winning this decision here. I think Bobby Green has a good chance to pull off the decision by winning rounds 2 and 3. So, not confident in Green, as I mentioned, but at the money line side where it's at, where Fiziev is over -300, I think it's dog or pass. And it seems like the market is agreeing because the price is coming down a little bit. So do you share the same sentiment, Oz? Do you have any faith in Bobby Green here?
Guys, listen to me. Listen to me, okay? You're gonna hear this a lot of places. I don't know how many podcasts you listen to, but there is no way that Rafael Fiziev should be -2, whatever the fuck he is right now, okay? Bobby Green, this guy, look, he does not get blown out of fights, okay? This guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9
Decisions in a row?
decisions in a fucking row, okay? And then he got
Yeah.
knocked out by Dustin Poirier. If not, it'd be like 12 straight, okay? So, I mean, Fiziev, look, I believe, like, I believed in him against Casey. I was big on him there, plus 170. Like Casey is like a budget Bobby Green, basically, and so it was easy cash there. I was on the other side on Moicano because Fiziev was like -140, -150 there, which I thought was a crazy price. He got it done there. But I feel he's just rolling that here into the Bobby Green fight. And man, just Bobby Green, he's a dog, man. Like this guy's so well rounded. He's got great cardio. He's got a really good chin. He's got knocked out 2 times in his career by Dustin Poirier 1. And who's the other guy? And he got TKO'd by, I guess, Tim Means by retirement. I don't know what happened there, but Tim Means is a 170 pounder, if any of you guys know. But Bobby Green's an animal, guys. This guy's an animal. Like, he loses close fights, sure, but he's in every single fight. He is well rounded. He can fight from the orthodox stance. He can fight from is just a stud everywhere. And I don't think Rafael Fiziev has ever felt pressure Bobby Green is going to come in with, and the comfort that a guy like Bobby Green is going to have in that octagon. Respect.
In
Tiger
Thailand for
Muay
this
Thai
fight,
Muay
though,
Thai
right? Yeah.
coach. No, he's been at Sanford though, which is freaking Tiger Muay Thai USA. But he's in here. I don't think he's gonna be able to. Moicano is just a chinny motherfucker. Like I wish he would have won that fight, but he's just chinny. Like I feel like if he got settled a little bit in that fight, maybe it plays out a little bit differently. But Bobby Green's gonna come for this guy, man. He's gonna come for him. He's gonna come for him with combinations, switching stances, throwing jabs, crosses. Coming out of his stance,
He's gonna
coming
mean mug him
forward and
too, give
stuff.
him like that look,
He's gonna
He
he's gonna come after him, man. He's just gonna come after him, and I just cannot be confident in a guy like Rafael Fiziev when he's never shown me that he's been like that he can control a fight when a guy's coming back from the Casey. Extremely passive guy, like just so passive. Moicano as well, very passive when he was coming to fight him. I think the best comparison is that fight against
Alex,
Magomed.
they're gonna
I
say
mean,
Alex White.
even the Alex White fight, that fight got gritty, but
Yeah,
he
White
was just
pushed him against the cage. He made it tough.
yeah, he was just so much better than Alex White that it didn't end up mattering. But that Magomed fight, what I mean is like that guy's not scared of Fiziev, and you saw what happened. And Bobby Green, he is not going to be scared of Rafael Fiziev. He does not give a fuck who Rafael Fiziev is, who he trains with, who he knows, who his baby moms is. None of that shit. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck. So he's gonna come in there with his corner, and these guys are gonna go to war, man. And I will hold a Bobby Green ticket, and like I said earlier today, guys, if you lose a plus 200 ticket, you lose it. It is what it is. But Green is always in decisions. We're in Texas, man. Like maybe they like the black guy. who's coming forward and throwing shots at Fiziev, who Fiziev's trying to be real pretty. He's trying to lean away from strikes. He's trying to showboat. The Casey gave him the space and the respect and all that stuff. Bobby Green doesn't give a shit about this dude or how he wants to fight. Bobby Green's gonna fight his fight. Hopefully it plays out well for him. Hopefully he learned from that Thiago Moises fight where Thiago Moises parlayed a win over Bobby Green into a main event against Islam. If you're Bobby Green, you got to be like, man, that should have been my fight, or like, man, I should be in the top 15.
He would have styled on Islam too.
I don't know about that, but he's Bobby Green's like 34, and this is coming towards the end of his career, and I think that's influencing the line. But I think it should maybe go the other way, where Bobby Green is just so experienced. This is a fight where he should thrive, man. Like, this is a Bobby Green mentality fight, and I'm gonna back him.
Nice, yeah. One thing I want to point out: last time Bobby Green was plus 200 or above was against Rashid Magomedov and Jakar Close. Both those fights were split decision losses for him. So I mean, he's not a guy who you can easily cover minus 300 against at all.
Bobby Greens has fought he's fought high level. He's fought Edson Barboza, Josh Thompson, Dustin Poirier. Like you said, Rashid, Lando, like Clay Guida. He's fought every kind of fighter you can fight. So I gotta back him here at plus 240, plus 220, whatever it is. And we sit on that ticket and we see what happens, because I think he's got a good chin, and I think he's coming out.
We're gonna move on to the main card for the next fight.
Coming out with a bang.
For sure. Both in agreement. Bobby Green's the side there. And next fight is in the bantamweight division. Another pick'em fight kicking off the main card. We got Kape-Osbourne as the slight minus 113 favorite right now. Song Yadong minus 107. Yeah, you can start this one off, Ozzy.
I love this fight, man. Do you love this fight? I love this fight, man. This is an unbelievable fight. I love Kape-Osbourne. I like Song Yadong. And I think this is just like a banger of a fight. Like, I think this has fight of night, fight of the year, potentially, because these guys just come for war, man. Like, it's right hand man versus left hand man. Like, who the hell is gonna win that fight? Okay, like, if Kenny wins, I'm tying my son's arm behind his back, right arm, so he's left-handed. Not that I have a son. I'm not that responsible, guys, in case you haven't noticed. But getting into this fight,
not that you know of, you don't have a son.
Not that I know of, man. You never fucking know, man. You never know. But getting into this fight, Song just, this guy, if you look at Song Yadong, he has never paid off I'm not going to say never paid off his price, but very, against this top 15, top 20 kind of competition, he does not pay off these favorite prices or favorite prices. He just doesn't do it. And Kape-Osbourne, I'm not saying I think so, but some would argue Kape-Osbourne's undefeated. I don't know. They say that Merab was just hugging. But either way, and some people say that he beat Dominic Cruz cleanly. I had a big bet on Dominic Cruz, so I don't.
Who the fuck thinks that? Nobody.
I'll find him.
Idiots.
I'll find him.
Cruz. I watched that today. Cruz won rounds 1 and 3 vividly.
That's easy. I thought you were talking about the Merab fight. I'll show you a lot of people that
I know my boy Sriram is a believer that Kenny won that one.
I'll show you a lot of people that think Cruz lost that fight. But I mean, other than those losses though, that Adam Antolin fight, that was a highway robbery in my opinion. But dude, Kenny's a stud. Like, this guy's got some power in his hands, has a submission game, has a really good wrestling game, is a judo black belt. This guy, I love Kape-Osbourne. Some people might not like Kape-Osbourne, like Megan Anderson might not like Kape-Osbourne, but I love Kape-Osbourne. I don't give a fuck, man. I don't care.
I saw an article that said that he should be removed from that card.
Dude.
Remember that? They said, should Kape-Osbourne be removed from UFC 259?
It was probably your boy who wrote that shit. It was my boy. Of course you know that it was your boy. You're trying to leave that out. You thought that I didn't know that. I'm going to leave his name out because I'm not trying to give nobody clout.
We don't need that.
I'm not trying to give nobody clout. But Kenny's a dog, man. Like this guy, you know, a lot of people knocked his cardio a little bit. You know, I think he showed himself you know, in that dude, when you think about it, he fought Dominic Cruz in that small cage. And you know, Cruz is moving around well, but Kenny was in that fight and he was landing on Cruz, you know, not at will, but he was landing on Cruz. And if you could land on Cruz, I'm gonna tell you one thing, John. You could land on Cruz. You could land on Song Yadong, okay? You could definitely land on Song Yadong. You know, Song Yadong, I told a few guys this. His IQ, if you circle away from his right hand, it drops like 78 points. Like this guy, Kyler Phillips, watch that fight. Kyler Phillips just circles to Kyler Phillips his own right hand side, and Song Yadong's like, "What? Like, what are you doing? Like, come back over here." He just there's so many times he has no strikes from his left hand side. Like he doesn't throw kicks, he doesn't throw punches, he didn't do anything. Casey Kenny's left handed, okay, and I just think this is a style matchup that is just favorable for Casey Kenny. Song has some good get-ups, right? He's hard to hold down, but if you're getting taken down by Kyler Phillips, I'll tell you right now that Casey Kenny is putting Kyler Phillips on his ass in training because they train together at fucking will. Okay. You know, I think that Marlon Vera fight, that was at 145. Okay. A lot of people don't know that, don't think about that. That was at 145. And Song Yadong slowed down in that fight. You know, even without a weight cut. And if you take that, let's take that fight away, right? You know, he's got that draw against Cody Stamann, and who else has he beat? Felipe Arantes, Vince Morales, and Alejandro Perez. Okay, I'm not even gonna count that other Indian dude that he beat in his debut. But it's just not whatever the fuck his name is. It's just not an impressive resume, dude. How can you not want to bet Casey Kenny here? I feel like you gotta jump through like 4 different hula hoops to be like, hey, you know, I like Song Yadong here. No offense if you do, but it's just like, you know, you just have to be reaching, you know, to like Song here. You know, in my opinion, Kenny was a big favorite against, not a big favorite, but he was decent sized favorite against Cruz, and I just feel he has.
No, he wasn't. Was he?
Minus 150, he closed, man. I remember I was adding to Cruz at plus 130. I'm not saying that he should.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but you know, I just think that Kenny here has the stylistic advantage. He potentially has some cardio advantage, and you know, he just has like more tools to win this fight. So I love Casey Kenny as a fighter overall, and I like him in this fight a lot. You know, I'm waiting. I'm trying to see if, you know, there's some Song love. I could get Kenny maybe at evens, but I definitely favor him in this fight.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you again here. I just see Kenny as the more versatile fighter, which you said in, you know, a few more words, but he just has more attacks on the feet. Want to fix that real quick, Ozzy. So he can actually attack with his boxing. He can set up the leg kicks. He can attack the body with the kicks. He's got pretty good knees and elbows in the clinch as well. And you really hit that point home. So Song is so reliant on his right hand. He doesn't have a good jab. He doesn't cut people off. He doesn't have good footwork. He doesn't kick the legs that much. He's just so reliant on that one punch of his. And Casey Kenny can just attack you from so many different angles. He has the wrestling advantage here. I do think he has the cardio advantage. And the one thing that I could see preventing me from betting him is I do think that Song probably has like a good round 1. Obviously, that's going to be his best round. He might win round 1, and you might get a better live price on Kenny. I think that's pretty likely here. Like, I think we're going to get plus money on Kenny in the first few minutes, and I think it's going to be like probably 1-1 heading into round 3. And the same thing that happened in the Kenny and Wood fight is that Kenny has that grappling advantage. He can lean on that in a close fight. He got that takedown, got like a back take, a clinch or something like that on Wood, and was able to win that fight with his grappling. And that's probably what's going to happen here. It's going to be a close striking fight, but Kenny's got that grappling he can lean on, and that's probably going to win him the fight here, win him a close decision. Casey Kenny decision is like plus 180, I think, value on that. And I'll be looking to live bet Casey Kenny here.
So, and just to add on, just because I know that guy last week, you know, he was like, "Hey, you said you like Chris Gonzalez, and you were not." Listen, this is a pick'em fight, right? Casey Kenny's minus 110, minus 115, whatever it is. What that means is it's a very easy fight for one guy to lose, one guy to win, right? Both these guys got power. I think I'm kind of looking at, maybe the KO line. What's fight ends by KO? What is that?
Yeah, good
I
question.
I know. I
Probably
bet.
plus 130, I'd say, if I had to
No,
guess.
no way, no way, no way, no
Well,
way.
inside the distance is plus 160.
I bet. I know. I
Oh, yeah, you're
bet
right.
Kenny.
So plus 180 maybe.
I bet Kenny KO like plus like I don't know. It was a ridiculous price, man. It was like plus 900. It was some crazy. It was a crazy number. But
Oh, it's 240.
I feel like these dudes are gonna bang, man.
Plus 240.
Kenny's tough, but he's in a comfort zone. He wants to finish this guy. So I side with Song. I'm trying to get a good price on him, but
No,
China
no,
man
no,
might
you
win.
don't. You just said I
So,
side with Song.
excuse me, Kenny. Kenny.
Yeah, some guy would've came back at you and said I lost the bet 'cause of that, but, luckily we
Bro.
corrected you. Alright, we got a rematch in the next fight taking place in the women's strawweight division. We got my girl Angela Hill taking on Tecia Torres. Torres, slight favorite, minus 138. Angela Hill coming back at plus 118. So I watched the first fight this week, and Torres didn't really want to engage much on the feet. No real reason she had to. She was just trying to wrestle there. That was her game plan. She hit some pretty easy open space takedowns in rounds 1 and 2. Clearly won the rounds, and not much really happened in round 3. But looking at where the fighters have gone since that fight, I definitely think Angela Hill has gotten better of the two. I don't think Tecia Torres has regressed really. I think Torres has gotten better too, and Torres might be at her all-time best right now. Look really good in her past 2 wins, but the gulf in their skill is much smaller than it was the first fight, especially when it comes to defending takedowns for Hill. Hill's takedown defense, her get-ups, her bottom game have gotten a lot better. She went from getting taken down and submitted versus Randa Marcos to preventing takedowns and standing up from side control versus Claude Gigadelia. So she's made big improvements in her defensive grappling, and I think Torres is going to have a more difficult time taking her down here. And the striking should be really even. I mean, Torres, her striking looked pretty good against Hughes and Van Buren, but Angela Hill is a much better striker than those women, and I think it's going to be 50-50 striking exchanges. And the only way Torres is going to look like a favorite is if she wrestles. So if you like Torres here, you better be pretty confident that she wrestles because she's not going to cover minus 135 unless she hits takedowns here. So I'm leaning a close split decision type of fight. I guess I'll pick Tecia Torres, but I'll definitely be cheering for my girl Angela Hill, one of my favorite fighters on the roster, Angela Hill. So definitely be cheering for her here. What are you thinking about this one, Ozzy?
Yeah, man. This is a tough fight for me to take a side on. I loved what Tisha Torres, how she looked in her last fight. Like she knew Sam Hughes was, she knew who Sam Hughes was. She knew what her name was. So she was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go ham on this chick, and dominate her." But in this fight against Angela Hill, I like that. Tisha Torres is training training background. She's training with like a lot of tough girls and stuff. But like you said, I'm not very confident in either of these girls. Um, I mean, right now Tisha Torres just moved to minus 140 on Bet Online. So Angela Hill's plus 120 now. So like you said, Tisha Torres doesn't have to use some takedowns here. To control Angela Hill. I would not feel confident if I knew this fight was at range or in the clinch range for most of it. Because I just feel Angela Hill, she's gonna probably be landing more damage on her. Even if Tisha takes her down, Angela might be throwing elbows, she just might be just super super scrappy here. So I'm not confident in laying chalk on Tisha. I think Tisha is great, in the women's division in this 115-pound division. She's quick, to make up for her short range or short reach, and she gets in there and she mixes it up. I think I'm gonna side though with Angela Hill and think that she pulls off some kind of upset win here just by being very active, throwing kicks out there, and stifling those blitz attacks of Tisha, which I think she relies on a little bit too heavily.
Nice, I love it. We'll definitely be cheering for Hill on the podcast on Saturday night. And next fight, amazing fight in the welterweight division. We got Vicente Luque taking on Michael Chiesa, another near pick'em. Luque, slight favorite, -113. Chiesa, -107. A lot of action came in on Chiesa these past few days. It seems like people are favoring Chiesa in the market in this one. You can start this one off, Ozzy. What are you leaning towards here?
Yeah, so awesome fight. You know, who hates a Vicente Luque fight? You know, it doesn't matter who you match up this guy with. You know, you're excited to watch it. You know, Chiesa or Chiesa, as us Italian, you know, Euro cashers. You know, call it. You know, shatters this on. I've been a big fan of his. You know, I think I might have been the only guy on him against Rafael dos Anjos. You know, I don't know what these guys are thinking that they were laying -260 on dos Anjos.
I only bet
With
-225, so it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you're a fool. I told you. And I remember you said you gave it credit. You're like, man, Ozzy tried to warn us, but Chiesa's just, you know, we talked about Wit last week. This guy's a fucking truck on top, and he'll submit you though, and to get to good positions. Like, you know, Chiesa is just, you know, southpaw. He's just a weird, unorthodox. Like, this guy's like, he reminds me of what's that guy's name from The Incredibles? What he reminds me of like a Miss Elastic. I'm thinking of the guy, but I'm thinking of the wife more so. This guy's arms go on for fucking ever, and he just body locks, clinches you, and finds a way to take you down. And Vicente Luque, you know, the thing with him is, you know, people don't think that he is a attrition-based guy. They just think he's a super knockout artist because you know, he's able to put guys away. But in my opinion, he's not really a one-shot guy, and he's a guy who could get tracked down. And that's why he's lost a few of his UFC fights when he gets put into the clinch, and you know, and taken down. Even a guy like Derek Krantz, you know, I forgive you if you do not know who that is. Not you, but I'm saying the listeners. Even Derek Krantz had this motherfucker's back, like full on, hooks in, flattened out. You know, and took Vicente Luque down. You know, Randy Brown took him down. Like, Randy Brown doesn't have any takedowns. So, I mean, I think Luque here, you know, this guy, he's going to have to fight hard in that. This is my issue because I think Vicente Luque, even if he wins the first round, this is the caveat. Even if he wins the first round, okay, he's going to have to fight hard to win that first round, in my opinion. And if Chiesa's smart, he's going to make him fight hard to win that first round, taking up space, getting into him, throwing jabs out, throwing these awkward punches out. Luque, he's a rhythm-based striker. You know, he likes, you know, stepping back, getting into his rhythm, bouncing up and down. Muay Thai-based guy. I just think Chiesa, you know, he's probably able to land some. Luque, he eats punches, dude. He does not block punches. He doesn't slip punches. He just eats punches. Like he's not a defensive mastermind. Okay, he's a offensive buzzsaw, and that's why we love him. But against Chiesa, I think Chiesa is able to probably land some punches because Luque probably doesn't respect it as much. He's able to get some takedowns. And when he is on top, man, I don't think Vicente, maybe early on, Vicente could get up a little bit. But if Chiesa gets him down more often than not, Vicente's not getting up, man. I just don't think so. And Chiesa just has. I mean, watch that Magny fight, man. He puts his shoulder, which is a very impressive deltoid. He's got huge shoulders. He just puts that cross face on you, and dude, you're not getting up. It's not happening. This guy knows how to control guys. He's a high level grappler, high level, which is what I try to tell these guys before they lost all their money on Rafael dos Anjos. But anyway. This guy's a high level grappler, man. He just is. You know, he doesn't have many striking. Look at his stats, man. This guy lands less than 2 significant strikes per minute, which is insane. I don't think I've ever seen something that low, but he gets over 3 takedowns per fight. So I like Chiesa here. I don't have any action on him. I'll tell you that right now. I did not take some of the plus money on him. I'm kicking myself because of it. And I'm gonna look for him live though, because I think this is a fight where, you know, it could be volatile. It could go one way. Like I said, I think, you know, Vicente could have a great first round, and you could get Chiesa at a really good price, or vice versa could happen. Chiesa could have a really good round, and you could get Vicente at a great price. But I
So
like
I'll
Chiesa here.
I'll take the point you just said, and I think I'll disagree with that. I think this isn't a good fight to live bet because I think the dynamic here is going to be so clear after round one. I mean, this is a great fight. I think it's a great matchup, but it's not going to be a great fight. You know what I mean? Like it's either going to be Luque skull fucking him on the feet or Chiesa just dragging him down to the mat and out grappling him pretty heavily.
Yeah, I hear what you say there, but my thing with that is that I can see that, but I just think Vicente's not going to want to accept bottom position, so he's going to make Chiesa work from on top in that first round. Like if Chiesa takes him down, he's going to be trying to rush it,
He's not going to
and
concede. Yeah.
he's not going to concede. And if Chiesa can get that takedown in the first round, I think Vicente's going to be getting aggressive. Like I think he stuffs like one or two takedowns. He's going to be getting aggressive. He might, start expending that gas tank. And I'm telling you right now, anytime, I don't care how tired Chiesa is or what time the fight is, if he gets the clinch on anybody, he could take him down. So that's how I see
Um.
it.
So and then taping this fight is difficult because Luque has fought like like astonishing low amount of grapplers. Like you mentioned, Krantz and Brown were able to take him down. He was taken down by those guys, but I don't put a massive amount of stock into those because Krantz just kind of bull rushed him, caught him off guard. He eventually did defend pretty well and knock him out quite easily. And same thing happened with Brown. But I think the fight you really got to look at is the last like guy who dedicated a game plan to trying to grapple with them, and that was Leon Edwards, almost or over 4.5 years ago, really. And Luque is a pretty good cardio guy. Like you saw him knock out Price in round three after a tough fight. He broke down Brown and knocked him out later in the fight. Same thing with Barberina. But like in the Leon Edwards fights, Luque was uncharacteristically gassed in round three because the guy's just not used to that grappling pace of a fight. Meanwhile,
And
Chiesa
which
is
fight? Which fight?
Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
Um, so if this fight gets past the 7.5 minute mark, I think it heavily favors Chiesa, who's just going to be so much more used to that pace. I mean, if Chiesa's losing, I think it's probably going to be knockout in the first half of the fight, and if Chiesa's alive past that halfway point, I think the fight is really his to win or lose. I think that Chiesa is going to take him down. I think he's going to have success out grappling him. I saw enough success from Leon, from Krantz, even that brief success from Randy Brown, and I just don't think he's proven enough in those defensive grappling positions. Like for me to be laying chalk on Luque in this spot, you'd have to really see him fighting like a dedicated grappler, fending off those takedown attempts and winning the fight. But he just hasn't done that lately. Against good enough fighters to where I'm comfortable picking him. So I got to side with the grappler here. I did get plus money on him. Bet MGM was hanging plus 125 just about 4 or 5 days ago. It's crazy to see where this line has moved. I got some great closing line movement on that one. Yeah, he was plus 125 on Sunday night. And here we are 4 or 5 days ago, all the way down to minus 115. A huge change in the odds. And I like Chiesa here to outgrapple Luque. I'm not so sure if it's going to be a submission. I think I'm kind of leaning more towards a decision. Um, and some props for this fight. I don't know if it's still available. Luque sub. Yeah, it is still 14-1. I think it is somewhat possible that Luque, hurts him, finishes him off with a submission, maybe catches a Darce or a front choke sometimes in the front. But 14-1, not too bad for submission. Any other closing thoughts you got there, Ozzy?
No, not really. I just want Chiesa to win.
Nice word. Sounds good. Maybe, hopefully, he goes back to plus money, but at this point, it's not really looking like it. But we're gonna move on to the co-main event, the Battle of Brazil. Two of the coolest fighters in the UFC. We got the best fighter ever, Jose Aldo, minus 113, Pedro Munoz, minus 107, as a slight underdog. Another story where the underdog is getting a lot of action. Pedro Munoz just plus 115, plus 120, just 2 or 3 days
Daddy.
ago. Now he's all the way down to a near pick 'em. So I'll let you start this one off in the Battle of Brazil. What are you thinking here, Aldo versus Munoz?
There's a new king of Brazil rolling the fuck in, and his name is Pedro Munoz. Okay, the young Punisher. All right. So I mean,
The current
Aldo.
king is Marlon Moraes, correct? The current king.
I mean, in some people's books. but not really. He lost that fight.
Of course not.
Anyway, if the Jose Aldo in the Marlon Moraes fight shows up, I mean, Pedro could be in trouble potentially. Could be
I
because
disagree. Actually, I think I think that
you don't
if
like
that
that Pedro. You don't like that Marlon. I mean, you
I
don't like that Jose.
I actually thought Aldo lost that fight. I thought he lost rounds 1 and 3.
Yeah, whatever. But he looked good in that fight. You think that was his best performance at 135? He's had 3 fights at
I'd say
135.
I'd say Cheeto was or
You
yeah.
have no.
No. I think that was his worst performance at 135.
Guys, do not listen to this guy, okay?
He went.
Listen, no,
He won a round off the
no,
champion. He
that
won.
does not matter.
Jan,
No,
Jan's the second best fighter in MMA right now, and
that does not matter.
and Aldo went toe to toe with him for 15 minutes.
Doesn't matter, bro. Jan was slow playing this guy, man. Jan beat his ass, felt him out in the first round, hurt him with that body kick, hit him with that body shot after on the
And then
ground.
decided to lose the next 2
No,
rounds.
no. But then Jose Aldo came out with the energy in the second round. He was like, all right, I just got fucked up in that first round, right? If I lose the second round, what happens? I need to win all 3 rounds to win the fight, right? That's how the math works. If I think I have
You're
that
correct.
right. I got that right? So Jose Aldo's like, all right, I got to empty the tank or I got to win this second round. In my opinion, I rewatched that third round and that fight as a whole. I didn't think Aldo won that third round. I don't know how.
He didn't. Jan did win 3.
I didn't look back at how it was scored, but I was like, "There's no
But
way."
still remarkable that he came back from feeling nearly
he looked
finished.
okay. In my opinion, he looked okay in that third round, but he had nothing in the fourth round at all. I just feel like Jan kind of slow played him a little bit. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. I think Jan kind of slow played him.
Yeah.
I think he looked god awful in the Marlon Vera fight, just like terrible. I've been trying to tell guys. I'm like, dude, Jose Aldo panic wrestled in the third round to stop getting pressured by Marlon Vera.
How can you panic wrestle if you hit the first takedown and control the guy for 4 minutes easily?
He didn't even try to submit him at any point. He just wanted to hold on.
No need. Yeah,
he didn't want no action in that fight.
But Vera's a good grappler.
This is my turn. This is my turn. Okay, this is my turn. All right. Vera's not a good grappler. He could the fact that you can't get out in a 5-minute round. You can't get out from back mount when you have the better cardio. Embarrassing. Dude, Marlon Vera went to war with Davey Grant, guys. Okay? Remember this, okay? He beat Sean O'Malley, who everyone thinks is awful, right? Doesn't know, not that he's awful, but is whatever. Whatever your opinion is, he beat Sean O'Malley, got that Jose Aldo fight, and then went to war with Davey Grant. All right? Just the way I see Aldo now is just, I think he's got some, like I said, I think if he comes out like he did in that Marlon fight, in that Marlon fight, I just felt his jab looked great. He's going to the body really well, throwing in combination. He had so much energy. He was coming forward. Dude, Marlon Moraes after the fight, he was like, dude, I was surprised that this guy had so much energy and it was coming forward and was pressuring me so much in the fight as a whole, and he ended up slowing down a little bit. But look, let's get to the winning side, to Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz, okay, guys, is real. He's legit. People have underrated Pedro Munoz his whole MMA career. Okay, he came into the UFC. He had to take a short notice fight against Rafael Assunção. For the casuals who don't really know Rafael Assunção, they only know him because he was on Cody Garbrandt's highlight. Rafael Assunção, back when Munoz fought him, was like the number one contender. I think he might have been coming off a win over TJ Dillashaw, in the fight previous or shortly after, whatever. Pedro took that fight on maybe like a few days' notice. If you look at his body in that fight, you see that that's a different guy than the dude that is fighting right now. After that fight, I mean, some people, like I said earlier, could argue he's undefeated. Some people could argue that. Some people gave him that fight against Aljo. I'm not one of them. But other than that, the Jimmy Rivera fight, unreal. The first one, casuals. The John Dodson fight, robbery in my opinion. And the Frankie Edgar fight, I won a lot of money on that, I'll be honest. But I don't know. Pedro Munoz, he's fire hydrant. Guys, impossible to put away. Maybe Aldo's the guy, throwing these body shots and the energy
Nah.
that he has, but I just don't see it, man. I just think Pedro Munoz is gonna chip away at Jose Aldo. He's gonna throw. People see the range and the reach disadvantage, but look, this is a thing where some people don't look at Pedro Munoz. Guess what? Right? What is his reach? His reach is 65 inches, John. Okay, right? He's got 25 fights in his career, okay? Guess what his reach has been in all 25 fights. Guess.
His reach, what? It varies?
No, exactly. It never varies. It's always 65 inches. He's always at a reach disadvantage, bro. He's got fucking hobbit arms. It just is what it is. But it does not bother the man. The man hunts you down, right? He throws calf kicks like nobody's business. All right. He does not care about his calves or his shins. All right. Ask Jimmy Rivera, man. He was going to war with Jimmy Rivera, and he was like, "All right, you want to throw calf kicks back? Let's do it, man." Like, this guy is so durable. He's made a rock. Okay. He does not stop. He's got incredible cardio. He's got amazing body. I think he's got the best front kick, body kick kind of, technique in the UFC. He hurts everybody with the body kick. He hurt Jimmy Rivera. He hurt Aljamain Sterling. He didn't hurt Cody Garbrandt because he debilitated him with leg kicks. He hurt Brian Caraway. He hurt John Dodson. This guy has insane body kicks. And Aldo went, right away, clutched at his ribs as soon as he got kicked in the body by Peter Yan, and then acted like he had a broken rib when he was on the ground. So I think Pedro Munoz, he's just way more hungry. He's coming for that King of Brazil title. He's coming out of ATT. He's got Mike Brown in his corner. They're game planning for Jose Aldo, and he's coming for that guy's head, man. I'm telling you, he is going to butcher Jose Aldo in this fight. Punches, kicks, knees, submissions, ground game, top game, back game, all the games. Pedro Munoz is coming for the belt. He's coming for Jose Aldo at minimum. And it's going to be ugly for Jose Aldo, in my opinion. I think he's going to slow down. I think he's got some skills. I love Jose Aldo. He's got some loose shoulders. He's got some loose arms.
Who's
But
winning
I
round
think,
one?
who gives a fuck? Pedro Munoz is winning the fight. Look, I think that Jose Aldo could win round one, but dude,
Sure.
Pedro Munoz is cerebral, man. He is coming in there with a game plan. I know this. Listen,
Yes,
guys,
so I agree with
he's
that, but
coming in here
I'm a
and he's
little.
gonna dissect Jose Aldo.
So I've got a little more respect for Aldo here and the threat in this matchup because I do think he will win round one. I think his jab will be there early, but the issue is he kind of. I will say this thing about the Vera fight is that he did win that fight, but he took as minimal risk and like used as minimal energy as humanly possible to beat Vera there. Like in the striking, he was kind of just throwing a couple body shots, a couple leg kicks, wasn't really throwing that many punches to Vera's head. He just kind of picked them apart as efficiently as he could. So it wasn't a crazy overbearing performance, but it was still a solid technical performance from Aldo there. But that type of game plan isn't going to work against Munoz because Munoz just pressures you nonstop. He doesn't care about jabs. He's actually pretty good at checking leg kicks. Him and Rivera got into kind of a leg kick battle in the first few minutes of
He
the fight,
destroyed him.
and Munoz won it so easily. Not only did he land the harder offensive kicks, he was the only one who was checking kicks. And Munoz is pretty heavy on his lead legs. He's actually sneaky good at checking leg kicks. So Aldo's going to have a big weapon of his taken away. The only way I see Aldo clearly winning the fight is by really investing in the body and breaking Munoz's cardio down. And maybe Munoz can't pressure as effectively as he typically does. Aldo wins the first two rounds, scrapes by a 29-28 decision. That's the best case scenario I see for Aldo here because you mentioned Munoz's durability. The guy is honestly one of the most durable fighters I've ever seen in MMA. Like Yoel Romero tier durable. This guy is virtually indestructible. I mean, since Jimmy Rivera dropped him like 6 years ago, have we seen Munoz like dropped or hurt one time since then? I mean, it would be hard to think of one. So I favor Aldo in round one here. I think he's going to win round one, but I think Munoz is so reliable to win round three with his pressure, with his attrition, that it's hard for me to not pick Major Munoz here because I think he's going to either win round three like 10-8 or nearly finish Aldo, possibly even get that round three knockout. So I do like Munoz here as an underdog. I got in a 1.5 unit bet on him at plus 115. Also have some Munoz round three at plus 1800, Munoz KO plus 600. There's a lot of props I think are value for this fight. And I think Munoz is either going to win a 29-28 or 29-27 decision or a round three finish here. I think he's really going to find his stride in the second half of this fight. I think I'm really interested to see how the leg kick battle goes here. Who's going to be landing the leg kicks? And I think even if it stays boxing, I mean, Munoz is a really slick boxer too. He outboxed Frankie Edgar, no matter what the judges say. He started to have real good success with his jab against Jimmy Rivera. And I'm favoring the more durable, the better pressure fighter, the higher output guy in Pedro Munoz at this point in their career. So I love Aldo, one of my favorite fighters ever, but I am picking against him here. And last note I'll say is the draw in this fight is actually somewhat possible. You know, when I mentioned Aldo winning those first two rounds, Munoz round 10-8 round three, 66-1 bet online, not a bad fight to stab on the draw at. So got any concluding thoughts before we
Yes,
move on?
yes, yes, I do. Look, guys, like this is a fight where I'll tell you I have more than 2 units on Pedro at plus 116, and I just feel strongly about this. I just think that this is a great line on a guy who is so reliable. In Pedro Munoz, you know the approach he's going to take. You know that even if his approach is not working, he is not going to deviate from it. And even if he does need to deviate from it, he is just so incredibly well-rounded. Look at Jose Aldo's last 3 wins. Marlon Vera, Renato Moicano, Jeremy Stevens, okay? Think about the 2 knockout wins, right? Moicano and Stevens. What do we know about those 2 guys? They cannot take any shots. They cannot take punches at all.
What do you mean? Jeremy Stevens, one of the most like, historically durable
Hell
fighters
no,
ever.
Jeremy. That boy, motherfucker, soft. All right, he got hit with 1 body shot in the first round, and he was like, "Chill, I'm out." Okay, Jeremy Stevens is Jeremy Stevens is not like any
He's
type of
uber
high
durable.
class fighter. He is
No, but
not.
he's
And
uber durable.
he went down first body shot. You don't go down with the first body shot you take. Okay,
I
guys.
don't wanna
Listen,
hear any more diminishing of
listen.
Aldo's
You don't.
resume. I wanna
You
hear.
don't. You don't go down from the first body shot you take. I don't give a fuck who you are. If I punch Martian in his gut and he goes down first
Would
shot,
never
I'm
fucking happen.
I'm out of there. All right, he's not my boy anymore. You got to take at least the first one. So point being is just I think Aldo. The real thing is, I just think when he sees this dude Pedro Munoz in front of him taking shots, I think he's gonna be like shit. That's why I think he needs to be like he was against Moraes, where he's throwing that jab, he's working that quick jab. Because Pedro Munoz, he could get a little bit plotty. They are in the big cage now, which is something Jose Aldo's more comfortable with. I will say in that and Vera fight, they were in a small cage. So maybe he was not comfortable, he could dance around, more. But I just love Pedro Munoz in this spot. And I'm backing him with real dollars, guys. Real dollars. So look, if he loses, don't say shit because I lost more money than you did. All right. Let's go to the next fight.
Be ready to add some in the live line too, I'll say too.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's
Yes,
gonna
sir.
move us on to the main event, interim heavyweight championship fight. We got Houston's own Derek Lewis as the plus 300 underdog, Cyril Gane minus 400 favorite. I'll start this one off. And I tweeted out a few days ago, Gane minus 310, still value. It's now minus 355. It was briefly minus 400. I cap Gane over 80%, 85% here. I I mean, it's a pretty common sentiment to this matchup, but I do think Derek Lewis is KO or bust. I don't think he can win rounds. I don't think he can submit Gane. He's not gonna have any other way to win the fight by knockout. But that's been said about a lot of Lewis fights before. He still won those fights. The most notable you got to think of is the Blades fight, where it was obviously his most recent fight. Blades was winning the fight, but Lewis was still able to time that uppercut. That super predictable entry from Curtis Blades led to that uppercut. And I just think it's an easy distinction to make. You got Blades, who was feinting that takedown for like 15 seconds straight. Like he shot a takedown in round 2. He got it actually stuffed. Like Lewis actually had some really good single leg takedown defense there. And then Blades was looking to time his next takedown. He was thinking too much about it. He wasn't setting it up, and he ducked right into that uppercut. But the difference with Gane is Gane is so much better at measuring distance. He's really almost never caught off guard. He's almost never where he doesn't want to be. He's not going to be lowering his head into that same range that Blades was. He's not going to be giving Lewis an opportunity to knock him out. So if Lewis wants to knock Gane out, he's going to have to really get aggressive, pressure Gane, and try to find it himself because Gane's not going to give him the opportunity to find that. And I don't trust Lewis to do it. I think he's going to be playing catch up the entire fight. I think Gane is the much better striker, the much better athlete, better footwork. He's going to be jabbing him to death. He's going to be kicking his legs apart. He's going to be lighting up his body with those body kicks. And the real question becomes, is Gane going to finish him by knockout or is he going to go to decision? And when the fight was first announced, I was kind of leaning towards decision. You know, Gane coming off that 50-45 over Volkov, probably his best performance to date. But rewatching Lewis in that Blades fight and the way he was getting hit versus Blades, first off, he was getting his leg kicks really easily there. And then even when Blades would touch him with punches, I mean, Lewis just didn't look durable. He looked uncomfortable. It looked like when he shelled up versus Junior Dos Santos in their fight, he just didn't look durable. And now I'm kind of leaning more towards a knockout. I think that Gane has a good chance at folding him with a body kick early on. I think Gane could just debilitate his legs with those leg kicks and force a TKO here. So I'm picking Gane knockout 2-3. Wouldn't be surprised if it went to decision because Gane never really pours it on for that knockout. He's never looking for the knockout himself. He's content to just stay in the same gear, kind of like Sean Strickland this past weekend. But I think Lewis just isn't durable enough to take the damage that's going to come his way. And I cap Gane, 83, 85%. I think Lewis has a small 15% window to win by some crazy knockout, but I don't think it's happened. I think Gane's going to pick him apart here. So I think you're kind of disagreeing with me here from what the vibes I got from you this week, and we've been agreeing a lot tonight. So hopefully you disagree here. What are you thinking about this main event, Ozzy?
And just I told you last week, man. So you saw that fight with AJ McKee and Pitbull, right? AJ McKee definitely has some kind of advantage with that shit being in LA. He just did. And I think Derek Lewis is gonna have some kind of advantage here of it being in his home state. But Gane's just way better than him as a fighter. That's just a fact. Like that's just not even an opinion, it's a fact. I just hate Gane, man. I just don't like the dude. I just don't like the dude. I feel like, if Volkov would have bit on the mouthpiece a little bit and not been, such a sissy, he would have got something done. Instead, he's fighting Martin Tabora in his next goddamn fight. That's what
He's gonna lose because Tabora's the GOAT.
I fucking hope so. But Tabora's definitely gonna be a fat dog there. But anyway, I think that if what's his name, Volkov, you get these European dudes or Asian dudes, whatever you call Russia, mixed up. But I feel like if Volkov just bit on that goddamn mouthpiece a little bit, he could have hit Gane's dumbass, man. I don't think Gane likes getting hit. He's definitely never been hit. So I'm gonna be real sad if Derek Lewis is not able to connect on Gane. Whoa, hold on. You're telling me Volkov landed 115 strikes on? This is
I don't
what I
remember
can't.
that either.
This is why
Who's
you
counting
can't.
those numbers?
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Can't rely on these stat motherfuckers, man. You telling me this guy was landing 23 strikes a round? There's no way. There's no way. There's none.
Yeah, I don't know where that. Oh, it says he had landed 56 leg kicks. That counts. 56 leg kicks. I don't remember that shit.
There's no way this guy was landing 25 strikes a fucking round. It's crazy shit,
The
man.
stats say these guys leg kicked each other 96 times in 25 minutes. That's got to be like an all-time high.
These stat guys are fucking out of this world, man. They're out of this world. But I'm gonna leave those guys alone, man. That means that about half the strikes were leg kicks. Insane. But anyway, proves my point, okay? Derek Lewis, you know what he's not throwing out there? He's not throwing out no bitch-ass leg kicks, okay? He's coming for Gane's head, all right? How many leg kicks did Jairzinho? Even Jairzinho, 23 leg kicks, bro. Jairzinho landed 42 significant strikes. 23 of them were leg kicks, dude. Okay? So Derek Lewis is coming for this guy's head. And I told some of these guys, man, even though Gane is a better fighter, yeah. Even though Gane, you know, he's got all the advantages here, yeah. Derek Lewis is an enigma, okay? If you guys don't know what that word means, Google it, okay? But he's an enigma. And why would you want to be on the other side of that? At chalk.
That's
Not
not
even
that's not a
chalk.
racial slur, is it?
I don't know, man. I don't know
Enigma?
nowadays. Nowadays, I don't. I was gonna say something real fucked up, but I'm gonna swerve. What you just put on the table, okay? But I don't know, man. Nowadays, you never know what's a racial slur, what's like a racial whatever the fuck, okay?
The Black
But
Beast is not, though. That's the chosen nickname.
yeah, no, I mean, you know, if they call themselves that, I guess, you know, you can't use that other word that they. Let me not get into that. But look, listen. What I'm saying is Derek Lewis is a goddamn enigma, man. You never know what the hell is going on with his fights. So why would you want to be on the other side of that at minus 350, 370, 390, 400? Why
I
would
didn't
you
hear
want to be on
310 there. I didn't hear 310, which is what I bet.
whatever the fuck it is, man? I don't want to be on the other side of it, okay? Because I remember a lot of tears last time, okay? I was telling guys, I was like, "Oh yeah, Blaze is a lock, huh? Oh okay, yeah, Blaze is a lock, yeah, okay, that's what I want my money on. No way am I betting on Curtis fucking Blades
But
at
who's
minus
smarter? Who's
at
smarter,
minus
Gane or
418,
Blades?
4
Who's
to 10.
smarter? So just two questions. Who is smarter, Gane or Blades?
I don't. What are you trying to knock the U.S. educational system? Is that what you're trying to
Not
do?
at all. Not at all.
Gane's smarter than him, but dude, it doesn't matter. Look at Gane training even. He'll
Also,
get swarmed, dude.
I got
He
one more
will get
question.
swarmed. Go ahead.
One more question. Who is the better striker, Jairzinho Rozenstruik or Derek Lewis?
Derek Lewis.
I don't know. I don't know. That would be a fun fight. That would be a fun fight.
Bro, Derek
I
Lewis
think
is way
Rosen's.
better than Jairzinho, bro.
I don't think so.
Jairzinho, you know, he does some cool stuff. You know, he lands some better looking punches at the end of the day. But guess who hits his win probability all the fucking time? Derek
Against
goddamn Lewis.
That's not true.
Derek
He
Lewis.
barely
I
scraped by
hate.
decisions
Look,
over
look,
Blagoy Ivanov.
guys,
Come
shut
on.
up. Shut up. Guys, I hate when I go into these Discord chats and after every fight, especially every Derek Lewis fight, every fight that goes another
A
way.
meme.
What do I read? What do I read?
Meme.
Oh, he hit his win condition. Shut the fuck up. Obviously, he hit his goddamn win condition. How the hell does the guy win fights other than guy by goddamn knockout? Devastatingly. Derek Lewis wins by devastating knockout.
True. Okay,
Okay?
quick question here.
Okay?
So,
That is Derek Lewis. Do not say he hit his win condition.
but
Say
Blades.
Derek Lewis won. Derek Lewis did not hit
Here's the
his
thing.
win condition. Derek Lewis won.
Derek
Okay?
Lewis was plus 340 in that fight, and I would argue that was
He's
pretty
plus
accurate.
340 all the time.
Yeah,
Always. All the time.
But from the 6 minutes we saw of that fight, Blades looked pretty safe at 440 the entire time, and Cyril Gane's not going to make a retard move like ducking into that uppercut like Blades did. It seems like
Oh,
some
I don't
action is
know.
coming in on
I'm not sure.
on Lewis though. I saw a lot of minus
More
400s
money.
across the board
More
earlier
money.
today, but
More money.
now Lewis is. What's
Listen,
that?
all I'm telling these guys, hold on. All I'm telling these guys is you bet on Gane, you got a parlay that closes with Gane and it loses. Guess what, bro? You're gonna feel like the biggest dickhead
Nah.
east of the Mississippi,
I'm fine with
okay?
that. So here's a good example. I
Why? But why?
parlayed
How?
Gane.
Look, stop.
Gane and
How
Luque.
is Gane a good investment? How do you look at Gane at this chalk? Okay, minus 310. Fair enough. Whatever it is. How do you look at
He's gonna
Gane and
cover
you're
it.
like,
He's
and
gonna
you're like,
cover it easily.
nah, I don't, nah, man. You cannot
Even
be on the other end of this enigma. You cannot be
sorry.
on the other end of this.
All right. Well, when they're
Cannot.
reading
Cannot.
50-45, 50-44, 50-45, and new, then tell me that minus 310 wasn't value, because that's what's gonna happen.
I mean, I guess it will be value, but look, man, this is heavyweight. Okay, this is heavyweight, and I just can't trust Gane, man. Like, I think that he might, look, listen, what I think he should do is he should attack that body. I think he's gonna have a good, easy target there with his knees and his kicks, which is great. But I
Junior
feel like
Dos Santos finished Lewis to the body 2 years
I
ago.
feel like I feel like bro is gonna start fleeing a little bit when Derek Lewis is just chucking at him. He's just gonna be like,
Gonna miss.
just yeah. But I feel like Gane is a few times and just be like trying to like skirt away, and I think that shit could get hairy, man. Like listen. Thing is, I just can't see a -400. It's -400 against Derek Lewis.
But I mean,
People
he has
people
looked
didn't
minus
want to
400
bet.
against
People didn't.
everybody so far.
People didn't want to bet -150 against Volkov. Now they're
True.
lining up. Now they're lining up to bet 350 against Derek Lewis. Is that not retarded? Is
I
that
didn't have
not
any
retarded?
I didn't have any tracked action on Volkov. Did bet gain there right before the fight started, like -135.
That was an easy bet. Even
But
I had that.
gain, yeah, exactly. But I mean, okay, we'll move on from this because we're nearing 2 hours here. So let's wrap this up. My most confident bets are I actually have a total of 5 units on Johnny Munoz. Ozzy put me onto that one. Likely we'll end up on Leonardo as a
Allegedly.
small dog. Small bet on Anderson Dos Santos. Might end up on Penne as a dog. Bobby Green is a bet. Song-Kenney might be a bet. Angela Hill might be a bet. The locked in bets we got so far, though, is Gane and Munoz parlay, Pedro Munoz money line, Michael Chiesa money line, Pedro Munoz round 3. A lot of different stuff here. You want to give a quick synopsis of anything, or you just want to leave it at that?
Yeah. I like a few things. Like you said. I put you onto that first one. And like a few others. Like I said, I kind of lean Jessica. I'm trying to see the line movement there. I already got Pedro. If you want to hop on, at a little bit of minus price, be my guest. I like Kenny here. But these are pick'em fights. Like I said at the beginning, I love taking a side on a pick'em, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. But I think at the end of the day, I'll be right more often than I'll be wrong. Um, and I just love the card overall. I don't like too many over-unders. I haven't ventured too much into the props. I don't know if you ventured too much into the prop section of things, but I haven't really seen anything that I've liked too much. No really over-unders. But yeah, I think Jessica is a good look. I think Kenny. I think Pedro. And then we'll see where everything else takes us.
Sounds good. We did go close to 2 hours here, but I mean that's what happens when you got good
Fat
fights.
card, man. Fat card. Pick 'em prices. That's
Yeah,
what goddamn happens. All right.
true.
1.5 times speed, guys. That's a fucking hack to life. As John, how do you pronounce John's? Whatever the John. What's the second part? How do you star? What is that? Can you?
Stargarian.
Yeah, there you go. As he rightfully said, 1.5 times speed is a hack
True,
of
true.
life.
The legend John Starr. Good shout out there. All right, so that's gonna do it for this podcast. Sorry, it went a little long this time. We'll work on shortening it up in the future. But
Like, review, retweet, comment, give the boys some love.
true. Comment who you think is gonna make more units on Bet MMA, Ozzy or Martian. The Martian did win last week. Since the
The head.
podcast started, I'm up 9 units. Ozzy's up 13. So
I saved his bum life.
True. Yep. Very factual. That's gonna do it for the podcast. Thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoy the fights Saturday night, and hope you all win some money. We'll see you all before the next UFC card. No UFC next week, so we'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace.